Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? Thank you for tuning in to Unhinged Live. I'm your host, Tilted Halo. I'm sitting here with my good girlfriend, Karen Sims of Twisted Threads LLC, and you already know. I want to go ahead, take a pause for the cause, and welcome you all to the Joy Tsunami. I hope you got your passports ready because, of course, you never know where we are going to take you in our conversations. So let me go ahead and familiarize you all with what's going to happen on tonight's broadcast. Of course, we are going to host an engaging conversation with tonight's guest. We're going to introduce her to y'all in a moment. And of course, I might throw a corny joke or two at y'all. We're going to take a trip merrily down the stream. And of course, we're going to get into it, all the way into it, with what's really going on and receive, of course, another dose of wisdom from our very own in house master life coach, Karen Sims. So, sis, how you doing this lovely Tuesday evening?
I'm doing all right. All right. We had a little bit of a mishap because one way or another, I had locked myself out of my house today.
Oops.
That's all. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But thank the Lord for resources. And I wanted was a nap. I probably rushed to get to that point. But God being in a rejuvenating situation, I am all right now as we come to the today. So I'm gonna flip that back at you. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired today. I'll be up and at it with the birds 4:30 a.m. I'm like, oops, eyes pop open like Maggie from The Simpsons, just wide open. I rise early with the birds to get things done. Of course, I gotta first say thank you, God, for continuing to bless me with the gift of life, because He didn't have to do it, but He sure enough did. Amen and amen again. Of course, just living life. Preparing for what's next in my life, the journey that is Nikita Hansford, also known as Tilted Halo. Of course, it's always a wild ride, very eventful. Grateful to have the opportunity to have my family reunion. Next week, I'll be meeting up with some of my folks that I haven't seen in quite some time. And as I jokingly said to my uncle today, if this ain't the most ghetto family reunion ever, but here, hey, if it ain't real, it ain't Tilted Halo, y'all. Y'all already know
Yeah.
what it is. So, some of the planning is not necessarily in the spirit of excellence, that we're so accustomed to, but it's being planned nonetheless. And we already know what it is. Family ain't perfect, y'all, but ain't you so glad you got them? Ain't you so glad you got them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I want to go ahead and take this opportunity again to say thank you for those of you who joined us on tonight. I see y'all out there saying hi, everybody. I want to go ahead and say thank you to all of our replay viewers who are going to tune in a little bit later when you have time and availability. We really appreciate you all for the continued love and support. We do what it is that we do here for each and every one of you. And of course, we gotta take a pause for the cause, Karen. It 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 seems that the king of the tribe has celebrated a milestone birthday recently. So
Yes.
you want to sing happy birthday to AP, Karen?
Yeah, okay, we gonna do something now. He ain't heard this happy birthday song, so we might take it back a little bit. Happy birthday,
Okay.
hey, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anthony. Happy birthday to you. One more time now.
Happy
Listen,
birthday. Hey,
happy birthday, happy
happy
birthday
birthday.
to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy birthday.
birthday to
Happy
you.
birthday.
Hey,
Happy birthday.
hey,
Happy birthday.
to you. Ah,
Happy birthday, AP. We love you so much here at Unhinged. You have been such a tremendous blessing, and you are an absolute breath of fresh air to everyone you encounter. I'm grateful
Yes.
for whoever shared your little birthday dinner video on the internet. I really appreciate that they showered you with some tangible gifts, which is symbolic into sowing into the brightness of the future that you have ahead of you. So, we would be insane if we didn't take the opportunity from your sisters here at the Unhinged Live platform. Happy birthday. I guess you what, 40 now? Yeah, you think you're grown, huh? Uh-huh. Yeah, you're 40 now. So welcome to your place. He's a king ager. We gotta figure something out for our male contingency because as females after a certain age we're the queen agers. What is
Teenagers.
it? Was it is
I
it
got
king agers?
we're gonna go with King Agers until we come up with something else. I feel like we gotta keep, digging it, but yeah, I think we're gonna be able to do something.
Yeah, we got to look, we got to twist that up and tilt it a little bit, because we can't never do nothing that, that's common. We got to stick with the unique. So we're gonna come back to y'all with that one. What we're gonna call our fellas after they hit a certain point in their lives. So look, without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce you all to tonight's guest. I'm very excited. She is our sister. She is family. And y'all already know I find some of the best people walking the face of the earth in the choir. That's right. She was a member of the choir at our local faith community. We've broken bread together. We've prayed together. We've laughed together. We've danced together. We have cried together. And I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to watch where her life has taken her and how divinely ordered her steps truly has been. So, Karen, you ready to let our guest in?
Yes,
Look,
it's the knock at
without
the door.
we got to knock at the door, y'all. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and welcome to tonight's show Ashley Wilson of AMW Wellness LLC. Hey, girl, how you doing?
I am excited. I've been looking forward to tonight, so I'm ready. I
She ready. She
am
ready.
ready.
So again, I want to say thank you first and foremost, Ashley, for agreeing to come in and sit in on this conversation tonight. You didn't have to, but you sure enough did.
Yeah,
So thank you for your yes. I really
problem.
appreciate it.
Thank you for asking.
No problem. No problem, because what the work that you're doing is amazing. And you already know our hearts. We love to give voice. I guess that's that inner choir director being redeveloped into something else
Yeah,
in my life.
yeah.
So is there anyone that you would like to acknowledge before we get into the conversation about all things wellness, all things you?
Anyone I want to acknowledge? I definitely want to acknowledge my husband because he is just the backbone of and all these things that I'm doing. You have to have the right support system, and so it's important who you become one with. And so I'm thankful for him that he encourages me in my giftings, so I can be able to go out there and do it unapologetically. Go out there and kill it, and he supports me. So shout out to him and my kids.
Oh, yes. How appropriate that you acknowledge the king of your castle. Amen.
Yes.
And your absolutely precious children. I can't wait until we get into the conversation about that.
Yes.
So, Ashley, you are AMW Wellness.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your journey and what led you to establish AMW Wellness?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I had been having a number of health issues even as a young teenager before then. You know how you end up with some type of diagnosis or whatever, and you can look back on your life and be like, "Oh, that makes sense because X, Y, and Z was happening." And there was a number of things that were going on, whether it be chest pains that were, they didn't have the answer to, that I kept having. No, as a teenager, you shouldn't be feeling like you're about to have a heart attack. And so there were a number of things like that. I had two surgeries to remove a lump out of my breast, probably before the age of 24. And I was going through a number of hormonal issues, and so all of these different things led me down the path of trying to figure out what's actually the root of what's going on with me. And that uh came more to light as my husband and we decided we're gonna start our family. We think it's the time to now bring children into the world. And there was something that was clicking inside me and saying, I think there's an issue here. There was something that was just saying to me that if my body was in alignment, that it shouldn't be taking years for us to get pregnant. And so we went to the doctors. I was diagnosed with something called polycystic ovarian syndrome, and better known as PCOS. And I just remember, and it will never leave me. Though I'm thankful for my kids now and that we've overcome a lot of things, it will never leave me how I felt during that time. Because as a woman, you feel broken. You feel like you can't produce. You feel like I felt alone. I did not know any other person at that time, when I got my diagnosis, of someone else who had PCOS. So going into the doctors, finding out, and having the doctor contact me and basically say, you have just a common form of infertility. If there was going to be any infertility out there, this is the best one to have. It's like, okay, thank you, but what does
Nothing.
that mean? How do we fix it? Okay. So that, it was emotional for us. And but I remember being in the bathroom, crying about the situation, but saying to myself, you know what, one day I'm going to be an advocate concerning this issue. I'm going to advocate for it. And so I began to do research, and I started to find out that what was being prescribed to me as a one way of trying to fix the issue was not actually the only way. And when I started to find out more layers of how to reverse PCOS naturally, and I was like looking all on YouTube, trying to find videos and all types of stuff, it led me down paths of natural resolution to reverse my symptoms and rejuvenate my body. And obviously it worked, because I got 3 babies today. Okay. And so that was like a light went off in me after that stuff was going on with my own kids when they came here, eczema, dermatitis. And I felt like God kept sending me down the same path. Like he was like, I want you to figure it out. I want you to research. I want you to figure out how to fix this. And so it got to the point that I was doing certain things to help my kids, and I would take them back to our pediatrician. And if it would come up again with like the second or third child, the pediatrician saw how I handled it and how my other child got better. And he was like, just do the same thing that you did with the other one. And so they were trusting me to even care for my kids, because they saw the improvement. They, that they didn't have all the answers to. And so, all of that led to continuing to stay in the research lab per se, and engaging with people that were dealing with different health stuff, that they felt like they had to stay in that. And I just knew that there was another way. And so I got certified, and I got my certificate underneath Dr. Cabral. Shout out to Equalife, the whole Equalife team. But his program is phenomenal. And I got certified and became an integrative health practitioner. And so now I'm able to assist people in their health journey. Specifically, I work with people that are combating hormonal issues, things like eczema, dermatitis, and toxin reduction. If you want to know about that, there are people that come to me from all ages and ranges, but those are my specialties.
That is amazing stuff. Now I told you you could check me on air because that's just who I am, and I've been sharing with the audience my own journey of having received a DCIS diagnosis recently,
Yeah.
and I want to go ahead and ask you to prevent a recurrence in the future after I go through my procedure.
Hmm.
What are some things you would suggest for me to adjust as far as what I eat?
Hmm. Well, I feel like I want to add to that a little bit because everybody always thinks it has to do with what you eat. That's part of it. The first thing I would tell people to do is definitely have a consultation with the practitioner, whoever you would want to go with, to see about your journey. But where I like to lead people to is getting to the root so you don't have to be trying this, that, this, and that, and not knowing what your actual body needs. Individualized plans is what I appreciate. And one way you find out about that is doing cellular type testing. So I like to provide people with different avenues of how to find out what's actually going on within your body. And there's different providers that I go through that they can have these particular testing done, which can be done right within your home. Like you can order the kit and it comes to you and you can have it. It might be through a prick of your finger. It could be through, hair sample, whatever it would be, but it'll tell you what's going on within your body. Then you know what you're supposed to eat. Then you know what supplements you're
Hmm.
supposed to get. So then you're not spending all this money and going around the bush and not knowing what your body needs, because your body's actually always changing. Your blood is always changing. So if people had that test at least once a year, I think they would just save so many headaches.
Hmm. That's great information now, and I believe you did say that is something that you would discuss with your normal healthcare professional.
Yeah, it depends on whoever your healthcare professional is, or if you wanted to go with an integrative health practitioner, because a regular doctor might not send you that way. You might send you through blood testing, which is fine to have blood testing. The way that I try to share with people is when you get blood testing, it can tell you the diagnosis, right? You have high blood pressure, you have PCOS, you have whatever. But when you get cellular lab testing, it tells you why you're getting X, Y, and Z, why you have the PCOS, why you have the high blood pressure. So I feel like you're able to combine the two, and you can go and get your blood tests, labs, and done with your regular provider. But if you want to seek out the integrative side of things, the holistic side of things, then get connected with that particular practitioner, whether it be myself or another one, and see what type of cellular type testing they have, lab testing that they offer that can get you to the root of why your diagnosis is what it is.
That's real good. That's real good. Karen, do you have anything you would like to add or interject here at the conversation? You got questions, sister?
I am just ingesting all of this in one, to hear about the journey, and know that many of our listeners, we experience, especially as women, women of color, and women
Mm-hmm.
pretty much of all backgrounds. Sometimes we get ignored, and so as I'm
Yeah.
to you, Ashley, I'm reminded of my own personal experience, and how doctors would prematurely misdiagnose or kind of
Right.
clump what about
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, about our bodies, as if
Yes.
it's a commonality, and it's something that
Mm-hmm.
happens. But one thing that I always had to take a test to is like, this is my body. I
Right.
live here every day. You visit quarterly or whatever,
Right.
how many times I go to this. I'm not going to the every time, but really understanding what I hear from you is that there was a need for you to kind of take some control and
Yes.
authority in this of your own wellness. Talk a little bit about like what was sort of that, I'll call it breaking point. Maybe it wasn't really an
Mm-hmm.
actual breaking point, but what was that thing that it was, okay, listen, we got to do something different
Yeah.
for you? What was that for you?
It's so funny. As soon as you said that, it was like two things came into my mind. So I'll share one that happened concerning me and then one concerning my children. Um, After I got that diagnosis, I started to research. After I got the diagnosis of PCOS, and I started to research other um, ways of being able to reverse the symptoms. I started to say, as much as I desire a baby, I'm going to put that desire on hold for a second, and I'm going to take care of my own health, so then I can be in tune with my body, so I can know what I need, so then I am prepared for the baby. So I felt like, you know what, I need to be my own advocate, and I'm going to focus on that. And I feel like during that time, it was a turning point where I was just like, this has to change, because what people don't realize is hormonal imbalances can affect you in a huge way. Like, there's some people that struggle with PCOS on an even more extreme level, that they can't even work, like they can't function, because a lot of hormonal imbalances can affect your mental health. And so I was like, I'm not trying to play around. Like, we're not doing that. So I felt like that was one of the turning points, and I had to continue to be on top of that even after getting pregnant, because it's like you jumpstart your body so you can then reverse these symptoms and be able to carry a baby. But people don't talk enough about postpartum depression and these other hormonal things that come when you are carrying, after you have the baby, or when you're carrying the baby, and you got to jumpstart your body again to get back in alignment, so you're not having a whole nother hormonal thing. So I just felt like with each thing I had to be my own advocate. Also, because God has sent us to an area, which we'll talk about later, as far as like how my nonprofit got started or whatever. But where my nonprofit is, I mean, we are the only Black family, and in the area that I'm living. And so when I was having my children, they were like, we don't usually have this. Like, we don't usually see a lot of Black babies that are born. So even having those comments, though they were caring for me and all that type of stuff, I realized I need to know what I need, and I need to know what my kids need, because it's not readily accessible here. Though God has sent me here, it's not readily accessible. So I'm going to have to be my own advocate and be in tune with that. A second time was when my son, now there's many times, oh my gosh, but this other time, my middle son was starting to have this infection thing running through his face. And I took him to the pediatrician, and they kept giving him antibiotics, and the antibiotics wasn't working, and the infection kept spreading, and there was this frustration of they didn't know what to do with his skin. And I couldn't get into a dermatology appointment until however long. And I said, I'm not going to let this infection feed through my child's whole face before I fix it. So again, in that moment, I said, I'm going to be my own advocate. It was a lot of work as far as advocating and researching and having to find out best practices to do with him, but I did it, and I was able to help him. I have before and after pictures of him, of when it was beginning to improve, and it's amazing. But you do have to become your own advocate if you really want to see true change within your health or your family's health.
Appreciate
Great
that.
stuff. Great stuff. Yes, great stuff, Ashley.
Yeah.
And it seems that you are the spirit of advocacy is running abundant through your veins, sis.
Yes.
Because you made mention of your nonprofit,
Mhm.
and rewritten, correct? I,
Yes.
there's so much I could talk to you or ask you right now, but can
Yeah.
you just what sparked your passion? What is rewritten? Let's start there.
Yeah.
Tell these people what you doing, girl.
um, Rewritten of Tioga County. I founded that nonprofit to help survivors of human trafficking and those dealing with complex trauma. And so people would know the signs and things of human trafficking, so they can be aware and know how to combat that, or know how to not be a victim of that, and also know how to help those that have become a victim of it. But also, the more that I kept, again, researching and working with survivors, and working with those that have been affected by these level of abuse, the issue to me continued to be trauma. Trauma begets trauma, and there begins this cycle of the root of it. Like I always say, like the pimp or the trafficker, that's not what they grew up to think that they should have been. As the same way as the victim, that's not what they decided that they wanted to do or be involved in. So where is what's going on here, that this continues to be an issue within our communities and within our nations? And let's not forget the fact that there was slavery at one point amongst Black people that people think is gone, when actually within human trafficking, women, not just women, but people of color are still a higher percentage of people who are being trafficked, and people don't realize that. Now, I'm going to come to bat for anybody who's being trafficked, to say that they need help, they need resources, they need what they need to restore. But the facts are what the facts are, and so, just helping people to realize that this whole thing of slavery actually didn't stop. It just formed in a different type of fashion. It looks different than maybe what it looked like before, but we're still dealing with modern day slavery today. And some reason God called me to be part of the pioneering in speaking up about this issue, and to try to bring restoration to the community that he's led me in, but communities across wherever I'm able to speak. And I just listen to God's divine voice and order, and how he's directing, and just and praying that the team that he brings the diversity of giftings that's needed to then carry out the assignment that we're called to carry out. Because with our organization, though we have a faith-based underlay, God's called us to minister and to work with all types of people from all backgrounds. And it doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is, whatever it is. If you've been affected in this way, we want to be able to get you the resources, referrals that you need, help communities become more trauma informed, and help people to realize where the demand is coming from, and how and best ways to end that. So yeah, once you get me on this topic, I get a little like, woo, but yeah, so
Girl, it's quite all right with me, because
yeah.
I told you that this is human trafficking is something that I've been interested in and monitored,
Mhm.
especially here in Lehigh Valley,
Yes.
for quite some time.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful that you're sharing this information and actually having the conversation, because, like you said,
Yeah.
slavery hasn't ended. It's just basically morphed into something
Yes.
different or something new. Like, look, it rebranded itself. Let's put it that
Right.
way. So, in with you doing this work with
Mhm.
Rewritten,
Yes.
can you share, of course, protecting the innocent? Of course,
Yes.
you know what we do. We confidentiality is
Of
huge.
course.
Can you share what your most challenging situation has been um, doing the work with Rewritten?
So one, to give understanding of why our name is rewritten, we want those that we work with to know that their story can be rewritten. Their story can be what I'm always like, what could they have dreamed? What did you want to dream to be? What did you want to do? You can still do that. And we can rewrite the story of what somebody else tried to write for you, because that's not who you are, right? So so that's that piece. And then the most challenging part is helping people to understand that it happens everywhere. The most common thing the question that I get is, it happens here, like not our neighborhood, like not our area. And it's like, cases have been documented in all 50 states. All 50 states, okay? If there's millions of victims out there, why would one of them not be in your area? you know. So I think that's my most challenging thing, is helping people to understand it and then know how to act, because people can, like, I've had people tell me before, like, oh, you get to do that work and I get to kind of put my head underneath the sand, like, I don't want to know about what's going on. And it's like, actually no, because human trafficking is a little bit different. You might have a whole another issue that's it's single, like, say for instance, if you're working with homeless, yes, that's tough, but that you're focusing on homeless, where human trafficking is a mixture of all of it. So here we have people who are homeless, people who are LGBTQ, people who are brown skin, all of these different runaways, foster care, all of these different things that make them susceptible. It could look like domestic violence is involved, sexual abuse is involved, the labor traffic. There's so many intertwining things that make human trafficking what it is, that it's not just one thing, it's a layer. And so helping people to know that maybe even in the simplest forms of just being more mindful of what you buy, and how that item is made, you can make a difference in that. Buying from survivor made shops, you can make a difference doing that. Writing letters to the nonprofit that works with survivors of human trafficking, and encouraging the staff and encouraging the people that they're working with, you can make a difference doing that. So I'm trying to help people not get so overwhelmed where they get scared and they're like, I can't do anything, and trying to bring it back to, let's unlock this for a second. I'm not telling you to go out there and be Batman. I'm saying, think of your own sphere of influence. If you see these signs, this is how you can report. Some of it might just be you being a mentor. Because if I think about in my own life, when I had my rebel stages or whatever I was doing as a teenager, and or as a young adult or whatever, that put me at risk. It was the people that came in my life and said, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, or you're better than that, or stand it in the gap. Like my grandmother, excuse me, who's coming to the house? No, you're not, actually. So sometimes you're just called to be a mentor in somebody's life, to shield them until they can understand the risk that's in their lives. So there's so much that as a community that we can do from the ground up that stops this from the root, rather than us getting afraid and not being able to do anything.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Karen, I see the look on your face. Is it a question rising up?
I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, and it's think about this happens all times of year. Human trafficking is not a seasonal thing, but
Right.
specifically when we think about there's a heightened number of activities that happen during this time of year, where it's like, okay, yeah, now we can let our guard down because it's spring and it's summer and we need to do more. But understanding, actually the thing that came to my mind is the vigilance that we have to have all year long, because the grandmas and the aunties, they care. And we have to have that same tenacity for our families, for our children, but also our neighborhoods and that community used to be a thing. Like, when you said about your grandmother,
Yes.
everybody who knew your grandmother knew what was going to fly and what wasn't going to fly. Like, wait a minute, you so and so's baby girl. I know you ain't over there doing that. Yeah. And that was a safety for us. That they never put a hand on us. It wasn't a lot of yelling and screaming. It'd be like, Karen, ain't that Sim's daughter over there? If she don't get, literally, we'd be like, oh, let me go ahead on and get my entire life right. And we are missing that. We're missing that. We're missing that community. And that's the thing, that not to say that it was less than, because I believe that it's been happening. There just has not been a spotlight on it, and how to
Right.
safeguard our communities. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
this is not just about your family. This is not just about you
Right.
safeguarding just the folks in your house. It is,
Exactly.
how do you safeguard a community? Because here's the deal: whether they're at the school, whether they're at the playground, whether they are at the supermarket, when we think
Mm-hmm.
more community minded, reach just goes deeper. So I'm so excited that we get to not only have the conversation, but talking about, yes, the whole village. Come on.
Yes.
Listen, the whole village was raising all of us. It was raising
Yes.
all of the kids, and understanding, all of the things. And when we see kids now today, it just is, I think that people want to, we do want the world to be different. We want it to be more welcoming to our children, our grandchildren, our, nieces and nephews, but it's not. It is not. You will stay right here. You will hold on to my pocket, my coat, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, for the conversation. Now, actually, you were
Yeah.
talking about rewritten in the work that you were doing. So
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about, I know you got a fundraiser going on and goals that you have set to try to support the work that you're doing with Rewritten. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So we have our gala that's going to happen next week, next Thursday, actually. And we are trying to, one, give people an interactive experience to understand, the issues that are happening. So they'll see things through the art exhibit that we had before, and meeting some of our partners as we talk about not only just the problem, because we know the problem is out there,
Right.
and though we give awareness to that, but what gets me excited, that continues to help me to do this work, is when I think about solution. That when I hear a survivor say to me, this is not a career goal, I was like, girl, yes. She's like, this work is not a career goal, it's work to end it. And I was like, I'm here for that. That's what I'm here. That's exactly what I'm here for. So that's the type of thing that I think about. Like, if we are really trying to end it, then I'm going to speak more about solutions, as much as I can. So when people come to our gala, they'll be able to see that, meet some of our partners, hear from our team, hear from me, and then we want to raise funds. It takes a lot to do this work, and we want to do some programming, more programming, to be able to have different access for survivors to go and get um, equine therapy, work with animals and stuff like that, or music therapy. And we're trying to do certifications for people that actually want to help with doing the care for those that have gone through traumatic situations. We were able to get a couple of grants, but to keep that going, where we're able to certify more people, we need funds for that. For myself, I'm not on a salary or anything like that. I'm on a stipend, and the stipend, to be completely honest, is just $100. That's all our budget can handle right now. But of course, I am doing more than $100 work. So if anyone feels led to support me as a missionary or whatever you want to put me under, I will be blessed.
But how, you got to put the information out there, girl. How can our viewers and listeners support you? Drop that Cash App, drop
Yeah,
that PayPal, so we
yeah.
can post it up in the comments so
So
people
Mm-hmm.
can know how to
Right.
donate directly.
yeah. So I have a link tree, and I don't know it all the way. I know I've given it out, but I have a link tree that if you go to that, it'll take you to um, my nonprofit, and you can donate straight to the nonprofit through that link. On my own personal page, if you wanted to donate to bless our family at all, I have my actual PayPal on my actual link tree. So those are just different ways that can be um, that people can donate and support.
We'll get
Yeah,
that
I
information.
really,
Yeah. We on
Thank,
it.
thank you.
No problem, no problem at all. It has been an awesome time with you tonight, and I really don't want this to end. I'm looking at the time. I
Yeah.
told you a certain amount of time, but I really want to go a whole lot further. You got a little more time to stick with us because I know them little faces that look like yours and your husband's might be looking for you right
I
now.
know. I have more time that if I see that door rattling, I'll let you know. But they might try to
No
break in. I
problem.
don't know.
But you look, they little cute faces. You would get more. We'll get more viewers. You let them get on screen.
No.
They so cute. They so cute.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So look, you're amazing, Ashley. You
Thank
know we
you.
celebrating you right now. Go on and give her a hand of applause. And while we're applauding our sister
Thank
Ashley on
God.
tonight, I just want to go ahead and acknowledge some of the comments, the people participating and keeping the chat lit right now. Shout out to Donnell Lockhart, Miss Natural D
Yeah.
herself, and of course, my very good friend, Afute Anum. Y'all are going to hear from him soon, right here on the platform. But he is here with us on tonight, engaging in the chat room. Just want to go ahead and acknowledge y'all. I appreciate you. And if you're enjoying what you're hearing on tonight, go on and share. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit like, go ahead and hit share. Take your hind parts over to the YouTube Nation and like and subscribe to all of the YouTube platforms that we are broadcasting on week after week. We're broadcasting on the Unhinged Live channel on YouTube. We are broadcasting live on the Twisted Threads LLC YouTube channel. We are broadcasting live on Save the Arts TV right on over there on YouTube. And soon, of course, y'all know we're going to be broadcasting over there on another sponsor of the show, her channel, Natural D. Y'all know? Keep telling y'all don't sleep on my sis. All right. Don't ever sleep on my sis. She ready, she stay ready. So we are out here doing the work
Yeah.
in these internet streets, or what Obama or Beyonce's internet, so they call it. Yeah, but right back to you, Ashley. Of course, I mentioned it at the top of the show as I was making the introduction. We was right there in the choir, singing them notes,
Yes.
harmonizing together.
On the
And
things.
you are a worshiper at heart,
Yes.
much like present company. Can you
Yes.
tell us about your the dwelling place, the dwelling place hub ministry? Talk
Yeah.
to us.
It's something that I've been working on and really trying to discern, because a lot of what I do, I speak to people in person, but I really feel like God has also opened up the internet presence for me to minister on. And so whenever God gives me a word, I try to just bring it out there on social media, TikTok, all of that. And so at one point I thought, well, maybe I would be starting my own ministry and different things like that. Um, don't know. um, and so that's where the dwelling hub came about. But I do a lot of speaking on just my own personal page, so it's a back and forth between that and the dwelling place hub. But I have hosted, and in at one point it was me and my husband, we were hosting different gatherings within the area and really bringing revival to the places that we would go to, the places that we would minister to, and really just made it simple, worship, prayer, and bringing forth the Holy Spirit. And we've just been able to see a lot of breakthrough happen through that. And there's nothing wrong with all the other additions that come with church, but when people need breakthrough, I feel like that's where God has really sent me to bring forth that when I've had those gatherings, when I've had those meetings, and when I speak online or in person.
That's just great stuff, great stuff. So thank you for sharing so much about yourself with our listeners.
Yeah.
For those of you who are tuning in, of course, you are hanging out with some of the best sisters you will ever know right
Yes,
here
you're
on
amazing.
Unhinged Live. Yes, that's right. I'm your girl, Keita Tilted Halo. sitting alongside my good girlfriend Karen Sims of Twisted Threads LLC, and of
Yes.
course our lovely guest. We're not ending the conversation at this point. She's going to join us as
Yes.
we continue to move the joy tsunami forward. You know, I gotta switch gears. You know, so we getting ready to get into it. You ready? Get your remote controls, y'all. Get your remote controls because it's about that time. I see the thumbs up. Is you ready? Wait. Oh, I don't need no water. I had already took a sip. You ready? I done cleared my. You ready? All right, y'all. It is time to point your remote control at your TV screen. Merrily, 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 merrily. Find something to stream. Yes, that girl good. That
Good.
girl good. Such a chocolate. Yes. So check it out. We are here at that segment, y'all. We get to have a little bit of fun now. You already know. We are going merrily down the stream. And, you know, we just got past the weekend. And I know we sat down on these couches. We binged something, a thing or two. So, Karen, I got to ask you, sis, what did you get into this weekend? What was your viewing pleasure?
I had un poquito time to stream. So I streamed the old show. And it's called Good Trouble. And it's about some youngins trying to find themselves in the world. I believe they're in either, I think they're in Los Angeles is where they be, Los Angeles or New York. They all look the same once they start getting into crazy shenanigans with work and career. You know, it was a great reminder of some of the milestones that we've done in the mishaps, and thank goodness that there was no social media when we were making our way. So it was a lot of shenanigans that came up because of social media. But it was very empowering because it talked about, you know, how we can support other women in the workplace. So a lot of times, you know, if you work in a industry that might be male dominated, or just men are doing the same work as women, there's not always equal pay. So there was like some real nuggets that came in there of how can we support each other and kind of elevate. So I was here for all of that. I have to say that was the extent of my TV, because this weekend we were traveling up and down these North Carolina roads to visit and support family and friends, and then conferences and do. So that was all I had for this week's. How did your streaming go? Tilted.
Now, before I get into my foolery, because you know how I do, Ashley, is there anything that you enjoyed this past weekend, past month? What's on the top of your viewing list?
So honestly, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do love interviews.
Yes.
And Cam Newton actually has a really good podcast on his, it's like a podcast like, or kind of interview sit down thing on YouTube. Love his stuff. So I like watching some of his interviews. Last night I saw the beginning part of, and I'm hoping I don't get her name wrong, but Iyanla Van Zant, y'all know,
Yeah.
mother.
Mhm.
She was on I think it was Hot 97 was interviewing her, or no, the Breakfast Club was interviewing her, and she has some gems to drop. I was like, yes. So I like stuff like that. And Steve Harvey had one too, had one of those type of interviews too. It's, you know, because it's interesting, you see somebody in their success, but when you hear their journey, that's empowering.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Especially Steve Harvey. You know, Karen and we
Gosh,
had
yes.
the awesome opportunity to sit in one of his live seminars when he really started to leap or jump into the motivational speaking arena. He and Lisa
That's awesome.
Nichols. Yeah, they spoke in tandem, and I know at that juncture of my life, baby, it blocked my, knocked my socks off, and it blessed me. And thank
Yes.
God I had two of my favorite armor bearers with me. Karen, of course, was one of them, and shout out to Minister Sexy herself, Minister Tanya Lewis was on the other side. Okay,
Yes.
that's when I took a leap of faith to pursue this particular dream so long ago.
Yeah.
Um, so me myself personally, since you did ask, Karen, I got to share. I feel comfortable sharing this now because I've been caught up in the Power universe, y'all. Y'all know I'm all on Power Book 2 Ghost, featuring Tariq Ghost's son, who is now taking his spot in carrying on the debaucherous legacy of his father, the former drug lord and mastermind of such a large criminal empire. Of course, a couple of them episodes leaked before tonight. I think tonight was supposed to be the last episode of the season, but some of us know how to let our fingers do the walking and find what we need to see early before everybody else. And I must say, episode 10 had my heart racing. Episode 10 had my heart racing because that's when you really saw the bond between Tariq and the new Tommy. Shout out to Braden Weston. His name is now Braden Johnson. He is forever and always invited to the cookout after the way he showed up, showed out, and basically saved his boy Tariq's life. I'm looking forward to next season. Y'all know I've always been down with that gangster stuff. Don't ever get it twisted. I move like a G in lasagna in silence. You already know what it is. All right. So yes. I'm all about power. Okay.
Now, listen, we got some entries from the comment streets, and so Naturel David just let us know she's recovering. She's still recovering from Queen Charlotte. So we were able to make sure our sister didn't miss one of the most epic love stories, at least of 2023. I don't know,
Yes.
we're gonna at least give it that for right now. And all of amazements that went on with that one there. I still say this is West Bridgerton's, and I don't know if it was because it was co-written by amazingly talented, great, tenacious and wonderful Shonda Rhimes, but they did their thing over there. That
Yes, they
still,
did.
they putting us on these streaming channels, but we appreciate some good TV, and I'm a sucker for a love story. That's all I can say for that. So I know that
Yes.
did not a point. Definitely a living legend. We appreciate all of the comments in the comment section. Why? Because we here for y'all. We want to hear what it is you have to say, and you all get to be our designated co-hosts as we come on and bring you this joy tsunami and ball of laughter for sure.
So look, I'm excited because the trailer has been running all through these internet streets, and I'm excited about the musical presentation that we will receive around the holiday season. The Color Purple movie, the musical, child, they've done got Fantasia on the big screen, singing her soul as Miss Billy. I'm excited. And wait. Taraji P as Miss Shook. I got a fan. I ain't got no mic, so I'm gonna drop my fan.
I just saw that trailer today. Yes.
Shook coming through. All right now. A
I'm
superstar
in my feelings.
Superstar cast. I don't believe we will be disappointed. So Sophia, listen, come through. It just is. I'm gonna say this, okay? Because y'all know, those of you who've been on here usually has something to say about these remakes, right? The remakes of our classics, because
Yes.
that's touchy. That's touchy.
It is.
And one thing
Until
that I
you
did,
do right by me.
Listen, I need that whoopee to come through. But
Yes.
I feel good about Fantasia. Is it Haley?
Halle Bailey.
Who's coming through? Yeah, Barry. And I just think it is what Natural D say, highly star-studded cast, and I'm super excited about that because
Yes.
a lot of times we pigeonhole people into because Taraji, she cookie to us, and now we got to see her in a different light, and so this giving an opportunity. One, we know she multi-talented, but to allow the
Mhm.
world to see that. Same thing for we know her in the pockets of what we know her, and now we get to expand that. So I'm super excited. I'm gonna be watchful. I don't know if I need why I need to wait till December. Why? Like we done. What we waiting for? We waiting for some checks to get cash. Okay. I'm gonna be good. Well, I'm gonna be my version of good. Corey Hawkins, exactly. It's so many people. Listen, and I'm reminded of one of our special sister friend memories. And so literally it was like 7 years ago. 7 years ago,
Yes, ma'am,
we
it was.
decided we go see Color Purple on
Yes.
Broadway. And we just gonna talk
Hmm.
about the show. What happened after the show ain't none of y'all business. We made it back.
We
That's what you need to
grown.
know.
We grown.
Uh,
Because
we
we
was grown
grown.
in them New York streets. Yes, we was. Cupid Pete's. Okay, never mind. But it it's a this is a culturally iconic movie that
Hmm.
has shaped many of our cinematic kind of aspirations. Whether there are folks who are like, I want to be on the screen, like the people who are on the screen now watch the original Color Purple and were like, I want to do that. I want to represent that. And so this door being opened up for them, I'm just super excited about all of the folks that get to participate in it. And I know for sure, Fantasia gonna tear it up. So
It's gonna be all kind of good Baptist fits happening in the movie theaters all across the country.
Yeah.
Because there are some powerhouse vocalists. Not for nothing, we even see that Ciara has been chosen as part of the cast.
Oh,
So hopefully her period pieces will be non-see-through. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying we need her to show up and show out in the period piece that they assign to her in wardrobe. Because what we shall not do, all right, is defame the legendary Color Purple with yeah, certain styling options, because not for nothing all of this is
what we
relative to tonight's conversation.
yes, and we've been
What was that?
told that we've been told by Mother Oprah, we've been Mother Oprah that we should come in our purple. So I'm gonna prepare for that. I'm gonna,
It's been to be a whole royal engagement. Y'all thought we showed up and showed out for
come
Wakanda forever. No, baby. It's gonna be purple everywhere. I might even have to get some of that purple hair wax for the fro and make it do
it's
what it
gonna be
do
purple
just for the
flowers. So
show.
I'm gonna give me some lavenders and
Oh, that
purple
might
and
okay.
all of that. Listen, most people, most people do not know that song that talks about the Color Purple in the, and I'm hoping that they keep that in the movie. It was in the Broadway show, so I
Yeah.
don't know whether it was in the original one. But listen, the Color Purple, that's all I got to say. So
It's supposed to be all the way live, all the way on fire. And I did see something else that caught my attention by way of Merrily Down the Stream, ladies. I saw that Eddie Murphy has recently signed to play Inspector Clouseau in yet another presentation of the Pink Panther. And why am I bringing this out? Hey, because he is the first person of color, African American in particular, to stand in that role. We've seen so many people throughout the years in the Pink Panther presentations. Return of the Pink Panther, Panther in Paris, all that, this, that, and third. But the inspector has never been represented in a way that looked like us. So I'm excited to see our brother Eddie Murphy. I celebrate him often here on the show and in my personal life. Shout out to Coming to America. Shout out to Norbit, okay? One of the most underappreciated movies ever, but allow me to
Come
digress in
on,
this
come on.
moment. Shout out to Norbit and Rasputin, them acting up with the car, okay, and the little dog that she put on four wheels. But again, let me digress. All right, shout out to Eddie Murphy, because he is
Yeah.
still out here representing yet another living legend, whose name we can add to this conversation as we travel merrily down the stream on tonight. Of course, we got to keep it going, y'all. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Let's go.
Normally, our favorite choir director is sitting on the table, but she in the chat room and keeping things on fire. So tonight, we what time is it, Karen? What time is it? What time is it?
Well, as we move through segments, I thank you for asking. Because now it's time for us to discuss what's really going on. What's really going on? CD, you gotta be in here.
What's really going on? What's really going on? What's really going on? What 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 what's really going on? What's really going on? What's really going on? Hey, 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 oh yes. Woo! Your little Nelly rock. Hey, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Taking it too
Good,
far.
good.
I know. I'm taking it too far tonight. But yes, what's really going on? You know what it is? It's that roundtable discussion where anything goes, and we got to talk about some stuff tonight. Karen, I got to toss the mic to you. Go on and lead the way because, baby, where we headed after this is finna get mighty heavy. So go ahead, Karen.
It's my favorite
Luda.
part.
I'm gonna start us off light. So
Do
when I
it.
move, you move just like that.
Just
Yeah,
like that.
that's how we're gonna do
Hey.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just like that, because today we are celebrating and sharing rapper and actor Ludacris. He receives the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Listen, this was just a few days ago. Yes, last week while we was kind of trying to figure out what the weekend was gonna be, Chris was making sure that there was no scuffs on his star. Come on now. So he's been celebrated
Awesome.
for all of the years of music, of entertainment, of actually creating viewing opportunity for us to see ourselves, for our children to see themselves with his work with Karma's World. So we don't just get to see him on screen as the Fast and the Furious and they driving those fast cars. But Luda is for a minute, and so we're celebrating with him. I mean, when we think about all of the things that he has been involved in, sold more than 24 million albums worldwide, and he would say, girls all over the world, whatever. All of the things that we could think about, the Fast and the Furious, honey, they on number 10 now. I feel like I missed a few, and then I went back and said, oh, it was okay. Y'all show every day, no problem. So we're excited to celebrate him. Excited that it's the opportunity, not only to have his flowers, but to have the chance for the folks in our communities to see how hard work really is recognized and does pay off. So we're excited about that. Give the shout, raise the roof, lift the hands, and shoot it over. Because Luda he thinks so. All of
Yeah,
that. This
Luda,
Luda and Sierra connection
Luda.
too, but that she used to wear clothes back then. But,
Yeah, well, hey, now. So look, check it out. So Ashley, are you a Ludacris fan?
Back in the day. I mean, I don't really listen to him that much right now, but
Okay, well, back in the day,
I appreciate the art.
what was your Ludacris jam from back in the day?
Anything he did with Missy Elliott.
Okay.
Yeah, like I liked songs that he did with her. Yes.
Right. Okay, got it. I see that. Well,
always fun. It wasn't nothing too crazy being said. Like I had to agree with that one. Like definitely.
Yes.
Him and
Yeah,
Missy.
Luda was fun music. Luda talked about what happened at the cookout, and after we
Yeah.
went, cruising down the street 20 miles per hour so everybody could see you, or is it 10 miles an hour so everybody could see you? What happened after that, when you met up at the spot and did what you did? Um, Red Light District was actually one of my favorite albums. And I actually, when we talk about Ludacris, the actor, Mr. Hollywood himself, I really enjoyed one of his more breakout roles in Crash. We first really got to see that the boy had talent that went far past the bars he was able to drop on the mic.
Absolutely.
So
Awesome.
I'm with you, Karen. I think this is well deserved.
Yeah.
And he encouraging, us Afro wearers out here to keep wearing them,
Yeah.
and of course, making sure that we also accept and know that it's okay to switch it up from time to time. You dig?
Yes.
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 So of course, y'all already know. Sometimes I sit and I'm like, God, we need something to talk about, and and it's not always something that's general popular information or conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
this one actually hit my heart today as I was sitting and meditating
Yeah.
about some things that I heard and observed going on in the world. So this conversation is called, of course, Sunshine and Rainbows. Now, when you hear me say sunshine, I'm spelling it Sonshine. And I'm calling it Sunshine and Rainbows because, yes, this conversation tonight is, of course, addressing some of the things that I've seen just going too far as it relates to the LGBTQIA plus communities here, not only in the United States of America, but abroad. And the last time I checked, we are supposed to be one under God with liberty and justice for all, right? And I know there's been so many different conversations about pronouns and what should and should not be taught in the classroom. But I'm also seeing that there's some legislation that seems to dismiss um, the actual fact that there are some people who are truly and absolutely medically needy in the LGBTQIA communities. Now, when I go there, I'm talking specifically about some legislation that has been passed below the Mason Dixon. I believe Texas, in particular, has uh, passed some laws that prevents healthcare professionals from providing the healthcare that those members of the community are and that are they need to survive, um, to even become more comfortable living in their own skin. And I jokingly refer to it as America Season 3. Y'all getting ready for it? We're in a pre-election season, and we see once again the donkey and the elephant and going at it, um, proclaiming who's right and who's wrong. But again, I'm going to go back to even what's written on our money. In God we trust, right? One nation under God with liberty and justice for all. How I believe we're serving a huge injustice to the LGBTQIA community right now. And it doesn't matter to me what some people think or what they don't think. All I know is what I do day in and day out is exist with my sold out mind. And when I'm talking about my sold out mind, I'm talking about that has been renewed because I live in constant dialogue and conversation in my personal relationship with God. And even in my personal relationship with God, as I've dug past what doctrine has tried to fill me with and what religion has tried to trick me into believing was true, what I have come to understand that love is the law and love truly does cover a multitude. Now, I'm stopping right there and saying this. Love covers a multitude. So, how is it that we can say that we are a nation under God and we are not showing love? A lot of our conversation on tonight, and thank you again for sticking with us on tonight, Ashley. A lot of our conversation tonight has been about trauma cycles. It has been mentioned. Imagine the trauma cycle that we are sending some folks spiraling into by denying them the very right to exist for who they say they are. Who do you think you are, person of faith, when you can stand and protest against the one thing your faith has challenged you to do, which is to love above all? Let me stop right there and open up the floor for more dialogue. First, I want to go ahead and toss the mic to tonight's guest. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
So, as many things, this is an onion, right? It's going to have many layers. And depending on your perspective, your experience, your exposure, you're going to have different ways of looking at this subject. I would say that at one point in my life, I would have been able to look at this subject and been like black and white. This is right. This is wrong. Da, 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 da. But time and life and time with God will help you, and walking with people, actually not just listening to what's going on the news and whatever, but actually inviting these different people in your life will give you a different perspective. So I would say to any viewer that's listening, first, always pray and ask God for wisdom on what to do, but allow yourself to invite your own self to have hard conversations with people who do not look like you, who do not believe like you, who have different perspectives, and who are walking a life that maybe you might not understand or agree with, and ask them to come to the table and you have a conversation with them. And I'm not telling you to do something I have not done. I have actually done that. I have gone on Facebook to my friends that live different lives and stuff, and I have said, can we go and meet and talk? We come together and be able to hear one another's perspective. And can I tell you that on the other side, neither of them have ever told me, you shouldn't, like, don't believe what you believe. Like, stop being who you are. Much of the time, it's not people having a problem, and everybody's different. If we believe differently about somebody else's lifestyle, a lot of times people are not mad that we might have a different perspective on lifestyle, but they have a problem of how we are treating them despite those different feelings. So I cannot agree with maybe something that you're doing, but I don't have to disrespect you in the process. And I think that we have to be mindful of that as well. How, as you pointed back out, to love and everything, we need to love and come around these people and care for them and ask them their perspectives and walk with them and go through life with them so we can understand more about them. And even if we decide at the end of the day, when we leave that table, that we might not agree with their perspective or the way that they want to do things, we should still be a safe space, regardless of if I agree or disagree, for us to be able to walk with them with whatever they're going through, or be able to say that person should not be treated poorly despite us disagreeing with any lifestyles or whatever. They should feel like they have a place of protection to come to regardless of disagreeing, because sometimes I feel like people disagree with stuff that they can see, but the things that people are doing that are being covered up in these different other circles, now we can't talk about that, or we won't throw you out the church because of that, or but because you could obviously see maybe someone who is transgender or whatever,
Ooh.
they can't be part of the conversation. But the other stuff that's going on underneath that maybe we know of, or possibly, oh, they can kind of stay because, God's working on them. Okay, well, what do we, I think we need to look at the entire picture here. So I'll let other people talk, but yeah, please tag me back in. I have more to say when it's time.
No problem. No problem at all. No problem at all, Ashley. What's good, Karen? What's good, Karen?
It is it's very challenging, I think, for many folks to come face to face with tradition and culture versus religion and relationship. And relationship tells us to do, as said, fellowship together, get to know the people who we are in direct community with, or they literally are just on the same kind of lane that we're going down together. The thing is that from the beginning of any type of religion, that any person that I don't really care whether, like, for us, we love God, we proclaim Jesus all the world. Other people might be Muslim, they might be Jehovah Witness, they might be something or something else. Every religion is based on love. That becomes universal, one heart, one mind, as we think about the world of, instead of this time and energy to separate, having an opportunity to say, what is it that we all need healthcare. We all need a safe space. We all need to feel in some particular way or form that we are relevant, that we matter, that these are intrinsic around the world. It's not even oh, well, I get it because I'm hetero and nobody else can get it. And I think that's really the biggest challenge for me, is that if we took the time, to biblically get understanding in all our getting, we get an opportunity to expand, to grow, to build, and to share. Because that's the thing. If people know that you love them and it is in your heart to share gospel with, they're not listening to you. You're not sharing any gospel with anybody by shooting people down and saying you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. But if we create a common ground, a safe space, then guess what? Even if they could ever say was that, she is a wonderful Christ representative, because she came over here with love in her heart, with wanting to understand, and I came and left differently because I experienced what I know to be God's love. Like the hate, we're not giving them anything. Literally, that hate that we're giving them when we don't present God's love. God, like, Jesus gave us the example. We ain't even got to go all through there tonight, but he gave us the example of being able to fellowship with are not like us, who don't follow but still they are worthy of time, the consideration, the conversation, and the love, because it is the love that draws them to God. I don't care whether, we like or don't like, we subscribe or we don't subscribe, that's not what any of what our heart posture should be. It should be about loving God's people. When we are called to be God's hands and feet, we're not asked, or we're not mandated to only love certain ones. That we are mandated to love everybody. We're mandated to serve in some capacity everybody. It's not okay, well, this one and this one, but not that one. There's not a duck goose type of religion. We got to learn how to love all of God's people and meet each person where, I gotta say, where we are, because like us and them, it changes the dynamic. But if we all understand, all of sin comes short of the glory of God. So listen, we might be able to see what it is that you are struggling with. You can't see what I'm struggling with. So it's a lot that goes into that. I'll be quiet now.
That's all right. That's all right. Ashley, you said you had more to add to the conversation. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah. Um, I was thinking of, people that are like, man, this should stop, that should stop. What are you doing that is making people attractive to want to come to your thing? Okay, people are mad about the Pride events. What are you doing that makes people want to go to something that you're holding? Instead of always thinking we need to shut this down, what could you be doing to bring forth unity and love and care, and something that's Christ-like, that could be drawing other people in for a good reason, that they would want to be in a certain presence, that they would want to be in a certain atmosphere. A lot of times they create certain events because that's where they feel safe. They feel safe there. And so that's just one of the things that I got to actually realize and experience, because we were invited as an organization to the Pride event last year. And I had never been to one before. And I was praying, like, okay, God, like, is this where you want us, and all of that. And also listening to, because there's diverse thoughts and opinions and whatever, even with on our team, and people that really care about LGBTQ community and all of these different things. And we as an entire team were like, yes, we need to be there. And so we had our table there, and our table actually was the mom hug table. And to be able to actually be able to embrace those that were coming in there, while outside the doors there were other people that had picket signs and telling them that they're whatever going to go to hell or blah 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 and all that type of stuff, that we could be the ones that gave them hugs and gave them conversations. And that is more impactful. I just want to scream it from the rooftop, like, Christians, being able to love and care and hug them and have conversations is going to be more impactful than that sign you are waving in front of them. Because think about your deepest, darkest sin. If someone was waving a sign saying you're going to hell because of that, would that make you turn away from your sin? Maybe that works for some people. But I remember when I was in some of my stuff, when I walked back to the altar and I gave my life back to God, and my young adult leader came to me and I told her why I was away from church, and she said to me, that's it? Like, that's why you're away? And she stood with me. She didn't make a big deal about it. She stood with me. She walked with me. She cared about me. She spoke life into me. That one scenario has made such a huge impact on my life. And I think about that with the different people that we deal with that come from all diverse backgrounds, that it's not the stop doing this, which, I have, experienced or shared before in different ways before I actually got to sit and be with people and understand different perspective myself, and being able to have these honest conversations and say they are people too, and they need to be cared for, and they do not need to be dealt with in that way. And when we engage people in those conversations, it allows access to have more conversation about religion and faith and different things like that. You don't just earn access and respect from somebody just because you just walk up to them and tell them you're doing something wrong. That access and respect comes from being in relationship with them.
Amen. Amen again. So check it out. I'm in these comment streets, right? And I
Yeah.
see your comment, Brother Afate. You actually have posted a part of a portion of scripture here from the book of Leviticus. And I really appreciate and love the dialogue that you're inciting here. The only thing I can add to your comment in regards to this scripture is I got to go back. This is law. And the last time I checked, as part of the Christian faith, which was my pathway to God's heart for me, is that Jesus came to fulfill it, in giving us a new commandment to love others above ourselves. Again, a lot of the conversation that we're having tonight has been about secular, if that's the word, am I saying it right? Secular trauma
Mm-hmm.
cycles.
Trauma cycles. Yeah.
And what I've come to learn about certain things, even as it pertains, looking at my own bloodline, my very own DNA, the thing that I'm responsible for interceding for.
Yeah.
Looking at that, you're able to identify the trauma from the past. If you would allow me to get a little bit more, even more transparent, I shared a piece of my journey growing up. As a little girl, The Pieces of Me was the title of my chapter. And the first part of that chapter, I shared about being molested by the same man that molested my mother. it was a cycle that was something in my bloodline, which as I became a mother of daughters myself, I had to make an adjustment to so I could protect my children from having that very same experience. I call myself an overcomer. I'm not a survivor. I'm an overcomer because I tell the testimony because and people are shocked when they look. It's because of my relationship and gaining a greater understanding that sometimes people are doing things that they don't necessarily understand the why, as you know. So it's up to us to engage in these loving conversations to, again, like you shared in your healing journey with PCOS. We need to get to the root of these things. And
Yes.
as you have the conversations, I
Hmm.
don't necessarily think that a physical death, committing someone to a physical death, is the solution,
Right.
because so many people are dying inside daily,
Right.
struggling to live their truth.
Hmm.
So thank you so much for engaging in this portion of the conversation tonight, ladies. It was very top of the dome. It was very in my heart to just open the door to have the conversation, because I look forward to having more conversations with advocates that don't look like me, that don't look like us, that don't talk like me, that don't believe like me, because I'm in this world shining my big old light, because as my nephew Joshua put it, my light ain't never been small. So as we move forward to begin to push towards the end of this show, again, thank you for each and every one of you for tuning in. We are Unhinged Live. I am Nikita Hansford, also known as Tilted Halo, sitting alongside my good girlfriend Karen Sims of Twisted Thread. And thank you, thank you, thank you again to our lovely guest on tonight, Ashley Wilson of AMW Wellness. We're getting ready to get into it, y'all. Y'all already know I got my fork and my plate in my life. I'm ready to receive a meal, a hefty meal, a plate of nuggets from our very own in-house master life coach. She's gonna help you get your life. I know she be helping me every day. Karen Sims of
Yes.
Twisted Threads with a reflection of purpose. Take it away, sis.
Oh man, this has been a great and amazing evening of conversation and connection. And those of you who've been riding, y'all already know it's a title. I want you to know that the title was selected before we even started the conversation. Special guest. And today's title is It's Reversible. It's reversible. Listen, when
Wow.
you know how the Holy Ghost come through, it's not a
Yes.
surprise. But we wanted to give you all a reminder, specifically as Ashley was talking about her work with Rewritten. As a reminder to us that yes, we some trauma. Yes, we've gone through effects and consequences. Sometimes of decisions, and sometimes it just was bad situations. Does not dictate where we land. I love it because my dad used to belong to a Caribbean church, and the Jamaican church, they would always say it's not the traveling, it's the landing. And so many of us have traveled a very long way. Some of y'all took shortcuts and found yourselves at a dead end. Others of us long way and wound up in the destination that we were supposed to be. But here's the thing. It's all reversible. We've got an opportunity because we're still alive. We're still a part of the land of the living. And today's choice, the decisions that we make for today will feed what we see on tomorrow. So we get to have the opportunity to have a brand new life that maybe it's something that we didn't even dream of. It wasn't something that we thought of. I'm living that every single day. And I know many of us are, where it's like, Lord, hello, was this meant for me? I think, I'm not sure. But he continues to be a miracle working God to show us that even though a doctor said this, a boss said this, a spouse, maybe former spouse, said something, it might have been a parent spoken word that you've been trying to figure out. How come this thing doesn't fit me? Because it's all reversible. You get the opportunity to be what God has said for you to be. And if you don't know what that is, we always remind you faith affirmations to remind you, I am beautiful. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Listen, I'm not a mistake. I matter because God put me here and gave me another day. We could go on, but if you take one thought, that whatever that bad thing is, whatever that thing is that might be keeping you up at night, whatever that thing that they said, you'll never be like so and so because you're so and so's child, whatever they said, it's reversible. So take that motivation literally all the way to the bank if you need to. Wherever the gas in your tank is going to ride you today, I remind you, ride on. It's reversible. I'm turning it back into tilted as we close up for the night. It's reversible.
Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. It is
So good.
all reversible. And
Yes.
so y'all want to go ahead. Y'all just gonna take a moment because I'm just basking in
Where
the
my TV?
ambiance of so much good information. I need a church fan. Ooh, Lord, ain't no ushers on duty to
I know.
throw one of them purple blankets
Yes.
on me because I'm finna full donkey. Lord on the floor. Thank you so much for the reminder,
So
Karen.
good.
It can be reversed. It's reversed, and it can also be rewritten
Yes.
between the two of y'all. You know, the angels is happy on tonight. Heaven is rejoicing.
Amen.
So y'all already know what it is. We getting ready to wrap things up. But of course, I have got to take this opportunity to encourage you tonight to just be. So tonight, I'm just gonna ask you to just be available and present yourself as a safe space for
Mhm.
someone to come and, get some support, have a confidential conversation. Let you be a safe place. Fort Knox taking their secrets to the grave. Just be available, be a point of light to someone who might be in need of the special brand of love that you bring to the table. This is Unhinged Live, Tilted Halo. Karen Sims, Ashley Wilson. Thank
Yes.
y'all for tuning in. Y'all can catch us on the replay. Take notes. Until next time, we are out.
See ya.